Just a panel. You've got Christopher's talk. Did you want to do it first, Christopher, or how did you want to run it?
Well, Christopher.
Apparently you're running it. You can't.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please be seated. This session is about to start. Welcome to the Joint SIGs session. As I'm a co-author on this proposal, I will now step down and leave the chair of the other SIGs to do the job. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mitra. I think that it's not an easy job for Mitra has been a SIG chair, and also thinking that some of the guidelines that may be needed to be amendment. This case actually was being raised at the last session, which was 59. And now that after some revision, that we are taking this back again here. And hopefully through the discussion and all the thoughts and the consideration are here, so we can talk more widely, more deeply about it, so that make sure that we have a guideline that fits APNIC and for everyone. So with that, I am I don't know if I needed to introduce anybody. I think that people are pretty much familiar with myself. Joy Chen as the Cooperation Special Interest Group, and
yes, I'm on on behalf of the NSC. I'm very happy to be here and work close with the another test and also to all of the APD community to review of the SIGs guideline. Hopefully that we can have a good discussion today.
Co-chair of Routing Security. My name is Taiji. I'm very proud to be here to joining the discussion. Thank you.
okay, that's the first part of it. Now that I'm sure that some of you maybe have a chance to understand the proposal very well, some may not. So I think it's only fair to maybe have the proposal. I don't know, Christopher or Beatrice, you want to maybe come and give a little presentation about what you are proposing. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Okay, good afternoon. My name's Christopher Walker. Fortunately, at this conference, I'm one of APNIC's policy fellows, and I'm also a network engineer and systems administrator from back in Sydney, Australia. Now, this proposal, we're going to take a slight turn with it. We're going to pivot a little bit with this particular proposal for the changes to the nomination criteria for the SIG guidelines. What I'll do is I'll go through the original proposal, and then as we get along, I'll explain a little bit more in detail about what we're planning to do. Okay, so over the last few meetings, elections for the special interest group chair and co-chair positions have had nominations from people who necessarily haven't been involved or have participated within their relevant SIGs, and who also haven't exactly engaged with the community in a way that would be expectant of somebody that would hold that chair, that position. Further, the current guidelines don't determine maximum timeframes in which the chairs may serve in their positions. And this prevents a fair and equitable opportunity for those who wish to serve their community in those positions. Now, there was two objectives to this policy change. One of them was to prevent those who haven't participated in their SIG area they've nominated for from being able to hold one of these positions, and also to provide a fair and equitable opportunity to all members of the community to step up, participate, and hold one of these positions, as well as to prevent individuals from the same organisation or the same corporate group from holding multiple positions across multiple SIGs. Now, each RIR has their own method and processes for electing and nominating individuals and community representatives. These are the links to the relevant documentation or the relevant policies and processes. The slide deck should be on the APNet website if you want to take a look at those links further. Now, the proposed policy solution as of today, it is to rewrite section 341 nominations category of the SIG guidelines per the below. So point 1 would be nominations are managed by the APNIC Secretariat. Nominees must reside within the APNIC or within the Asia Pacific Service region, and staff members of any regional internet registry are ineligible for nomination. Nominees must not have served 3 or more consecutive terms of 2 years each term across any chair or co-chair position in any special interest group or any position on the Executive Council immediately prior to the current election. Now, just on a side note to this, at Apricot 2025, this previously did read it was 2 terms of 2 years each term, but after community feedback, we've extended that to 3 terms of 2 years each term. For the avoidance of doubt, if an individual moves from one position into another, their term continues as if they had not moved. So, for example, if somebody holds completes 1 term as a NIR SIG chair, for example, and then they become a cooperation SIG co-chair for the 2nd term, that counts as 2 terms towards their 3-year term limit. Now, nominees must have registered and attended either in person or online at least one of the immediate past state Apricot or APNIC standalone conferences, not including the current conference at which they're being nominated. Not more than 2 individuals who have an association with any organisation within a corporate group may hold any number of SIG chair or co-chair positions. If an individual from a corporate group holds a position on the Executive Council, then no more than 1 person may be elected to a SIG chair or co-chair position. This condition does not apply to individuals who have only had an association with an exempt organisation. Now, if an individual from a corporate group is elected to a seat on the Executive Council, and there are already 2 individuals from the same corporate group in seats across the special interest groups, i.e. if somebody from organisation X already holds a position in the NIR SIG, and then a second or one of their employees joins the cooperation SIG, and a 3rd person then joins the EC, one of those 2 members that already hold their seats must resign from their positions. If one of the 2 individuals does not resign from their position, then the Executive Council, at their discretion, may remove one of the 2 individuals from their position. Now, the note to this is that they have the discretion to do so. They are not mandated to do so, which the SIG guidelines can't mandate the Executive Council to perform a certain task or function. The individual to be removed should be the individual who has served in their position the longest amount of time, unless this would leave the SIG without an individual to chair the SIG, in which case the other person shall be removed. If the removal of either individual would leave their respective SIGs without a chair or co-chair, then the Executive Council, at their discretion, may elect to not remove either one of the individuals. If the Executive Council decides to not exercise their discretion in removing either individual, then the newly elected individual may continue in their positions on an interim basis until the next election is held. Now, for the purposes of 341.5 to 6, has an association with means being a director or controlling shareholder of, or being employed by, or having a consulting relationship with, or receiving material compensation from such organisation. A corporate group means an organisation, whether incorporated or not, together with all other bodies corporate with the same ultimate beneficial owner and all their related bodies corporate. Exempt organisation has the same meaning and effect as defined in APNIC 87 bylaws of APNIC. Individuals cannot hold more than one elected position across the EC, the SIG, or the NR, or any of the SIGs or the NRA-NC. Those who are elected to a new position must resign from any other currently held EC, SIG, or NRA-NC position as soon as practicable, but no later than 30 days following the election. Self-nominations are permitted. Nominees will be invited to provide a recorded video candidate statement to be published on a conference website. Pardon me. And if any individual is reaching their maximum term limit, they will resign from their position at the end of their current term. If the individual is currently holding a co-chair position, an election will be held in line with the processes outlined in 3411 to 34110. If the individual is currently holding a chair position, their position must then be filled by one of the SIG's co-chairs. If there are two co-chairs, the two co-chairs shall decide amongst themselves with the outgoing chair no later than 4 weeks prior to the start of the conference, at which the chair's final term concludes, who will fill that current chair role. The selected co-chair will then be elected via acclamation in the SIG forum room. Should they come to an impasse as to which co-chair will fill the seat or otherwise fail to make a decision, a two-party election will be held for community members to decide which co-chair will move into the chair position. If there is only one co-chair, the chair position shall be offered to the co-chair, and if they accept the offer, then they will be elected via acclamation into the SIG forum room. A normal election will then be held to fill the vacant co-chair position. And if neither of the co-chairs or the sole co-chair are unwilling or unable to fill the chair position, then an election will be held to fill the vacant chair position. Now, regarding disclosure of an affiliation with a corporate group, both with myself, Carl, and Bertrand, we've all decided that it's probably best to define or to outline a process in which a SIG chair or co-chair has to disclose their affiliations with the Secretariat. And this is that text. Each person serving as a SIG chair or co-chair must disclose their affiliations to the APNIC Secretariat at least once every 6 months, or whenever there is a significant change, whichever occurs first. Affiliations include any current employment, consultancy, board or directorships, ownership or control interests, paid or unpaid advisory roles, or other formal relationships that could reasonably be perceived to influence the individual's duties in the SIG. A significant change includes, but isn't limited to, starting or ending a role with an employer, a material change in their roles or responsibilities within an existing affiliation, or acquiring or disposing of an ownership control interest relevant to SIG matters. Disclosures must be submitted in writing to the Secretariat in a format in which it prescribes. The Secretariat may publish a summary of disclosures to promote transparency subject to applicable privacy obligations. The Secretariat will maintain a record of disclosures, which they may elect to maintain privately in respect to one's privacy rights. And failure to comply with this section may be treated as a breach of those guidelines, in which the Executive Council may exercise discretion in removing the chair or co-chair from their position. So if it's determined that an individual does have an affiliation with an organisation and they haven't disclosed that to the Secretariat, then the Executive Council may exercise their discretion to remove them if they deem it appropriate to do so. Now, the advantages and disadvantages of this policy proposal. This provides a fair and equitable opportunity for individuals to be elected into seats in any of the special interest groups, as well as ensuring those who are up for nomination have the capacity and understanding of the role and have actively engaged in the community, thus preventing those who have had very little or no prior involvement from being elected into seats, as well as ensuring an even rotation of seats. And again, that's just to provide everybody with a fair and equitable opportunity to become involved and to hold one of these seats. As for disadvantages, we've not been able to identify any disadvantages, but that's not to say that there aren't any. We've just not been able to find them. Impact on resource holders, absolutely none, zero zip, as this does not affect internet number resource holders. Now, the references that were used in writing this policy proposal, we referenced APNIC 87, bylaws of APNIC, as well as APNIC 128, the SIG guidelines. Now, this was the original plan, and this is where we're going to take a slight turn here, as I mentioned at the start here. What we're looking to do moving forward is a community consultation on a whole of document review into the SIG guidelines. And the reason we're looking to do this is the SIG guidelines were first released back in October 2016, and they've only been reviewed 3 times in the last 9 years. So they could potentially do with an update to make them more relevant and to bring them more online with the way the community is moving these days. What may be applicable to one SIG may not necessarily be applicable to another, i.e. recommendations to modify the criteria may be applicable to the policy SIG, however, may not necessarily be relevant or necessary for the cooperation SIG. And we also feel that given that the special interest groups are run by the community for the community with facilitation by the Secretariat, that the wider community should be involved in this consultation process. So we'd like to get your feedback, your thoughts, your input, even a comment saying, yes, I like it, or no, I don't. That's still good input because it shows the support from the community. Okay. Now, some ideas or suggestions on how we can share this feedback and how we can collaborate and work together to complete this review. Mailing list discussions within our relevant SIGs, online Zoom consultation sessions, in-person discussions within our local communities, i.e. if you hold a NOG back home, you may want to have a chat about how these potentially affect your communities. As well as collaboration via a public GitHub repository to review and complete the final policy document. Now, what do we really want to change? At the end of the day, we can change virtually anything and everything with this document, subject to relevant guidelines and procedures as set out by the community. But a few ideas and suggestions that we've been able to identify at this stage that may or may not make their way into a final draft for discussion. Breaking down the SIG guidelines to consist of one document that covers all the SIGs. Think of it as like a parent document, and then having a second document for each SIG. As we identified earlier, the election guidelines may be relevant for the policy SIG, but may not be relevant for the NIR or the cooperation SIG or the routing security SIG. As well as the establishment of a SIG oversight committee to ensure that the SIGs are performing their functions and responsibilities the way that they should be, and that the relevant chairs and co-chairs of the day are being held accountable for the way that their SIGs are being operated and run. Now, who can get involved? You. everybody, every single person who is involved in this community, whether they're an APNIC member or not, or whether they're from the APNIC service region or not, can participate in this. Everybody's you're welcome to provide your feedback, your suggestions, your ideas, your recommendations, and it'll all definitely be taken on board, and we can all sit down and work together to try and come up with a document that, you know, that everybody can agree to, and we can definitely come to a consensus on. Now, moving forward from today, discussions can be continued on the on APNIC Orbit through the relevant SIGs mailing lists. A repository will be established on GitHub with information to be provided at a later date regarding how that will work for interested parties to continue the discussion and update the proposed version live in real time through pull requests and the like. And then hopefully with the support of the Secretariat, we can get an impact analysis done to be completed prior to APNIC 61 in Jakarta next year. Okay, and that is all I have so far. So if anybody has any comments, questions, feedback, thoughts, recommendations, suggestions, we'd definitely like to hear them. Thank you.
Is this working? Oh, good.
Yes, yes, as we all know that let's state who you are, your affiliation, and the rest. Thank you.
Excellent. Terry Switzer, incoming Radic Security SIG Chair. Your original proposal, is that still on the table for consideration, or are we leaving that and proceeding with the community consultation?
Okay, so we're not going to do a consensus call for the original presentation, for the original policy proposal today. What we originally were planning on doing so, however, after some consideration and discussions with a few individuals in the community, we're going to move towards a community consultation, where what we'll more than likely do is drop this proposal and incorporate that into a new wider community consultation. And the reason we're planning to do that is because it doesn't, to us, it doesn't make sense to present this proposal now, go through the consultation process, and then complete another submission later on.
Hi, Jean-François from the AO Foundation. So a couple of things on just linguistic stuff. So in some point, I've seen that some of the deadlines were defined as 4 weeks. In other places, I see that you mentioned as 30 days. I suggest that you basically use one single unit for each of one of the deadlines, so it gets clear. And just because my OCD gets kicked, maybe you also want to decide some kind of time zone, you know, when those days actually get to be expected as expired.
Yeah, of course.
And then I was also paying attention to the word equitable in the text. I'm not 100% sure that it applies. I think what you really want to mean is equality of opportunity, because equity would mean something very different. It would be basically mean equality of outcomes, which would imply that everyone in this room and everyone in the community gets to have a turn to sit in the chairs. And I understand that's not the intention of the policy, is to prevent misuse and abuse, which basically is to render an equal opportunity to everyone to participate based on the guidelines and requirements for each of the positions.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. I actually hadn't considered that, but thank you for the input. We'll definitely take it on board.
Matthew from LeapTel. Look, it looks very promising. The only comment I had is that you had the ability, you had the clauses in there to stop a organization taking control of all the SIGs. And then the conflict of interest things were slightly higher levels and talked about people having necessarily non-employment relationships.
Yep.
I think we need to be careful that we don't have somebody or an organization having control of all the SIGs, but they're not all employees. They might be unpaid. At the moment, there's no way of dealing with that in what I read. That was my only comment.
Okay.
Good job.
No worries. Thank you. Does anybody else have any feedback, questions, comments? Aftab, of course.
Hi, Aftab Siddiqui, speaking in my personal capacity. I don't know where to start, right? I have a lot of reservations. There are some really good points, but the thing is, and this is what we discussed on the mailing list as well, that what we are talking about is guidelines.
Yep.
These are guidelines. You can't set things in stone through guidelines.
Yep.
So you cannot create powers through guidelines. So the idea of EC can remove people,
Yep.
is flawed. Another point I would like to say, just drop everything and let's move back. What's the whole purpose of SIG? It's for the community to have a discussion. In every SIG, every person on the stage right now, they do not represent their organizations. They represent the community they are in. So connecting them, I understand the point of view. Yes, I understand. To avoid takeover and all this. I mean, the world we live in right now, we have to be cautious.
Yes.
But then the problem is we are leaving the essence behind of the whole ecosystem. SIGs are for the community. I do not represent my organization. And that is the essence of the SIG. And APNIC community has a dotted line with the APNIC membership, but they do not overlap in many places. That's why there is a process of, once the policy is has consensus accepted in the policy SIG, it goes back to the member meeting.
Yep.
For ratification and to the EC. That's why there's a process, because community can decide, but of course members have to approve it.
Yeah.
So that there is a fine line, community versus membership. But when we try to connect people with their organization, it's not a good idea. That is my fundamental problem with this whole thing. And of course, whatever we are discussing is, of course, we want to make it better.
Yes.
Or be more constructive. Look at the policy discussion, look at the other SIGs.
Yep.
The discussions are not very, there's not much to discuss.
Yeah, look, I understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So trying to put more barriers to entry is not going to help. So, I mean, I'm glad that it's not been input as a proposal. It's more of a discussion.
Yep.
We would like to have, I mean, I would like to discuss it more.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
really some good points we can pick up and say, okay, let's go with those first. But it's, I mean, there are some really, really not so positive things in the current proposal. So if you want to start from there, I don't think so we can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So we have to go back to the essence of the SIG. What is that SIG? And it creates, I mean, do I have any relationship with the NIR SIG? Absolutely not. I'm not a member of an NIR, but that is an important piece of the ecosystem. I do attend that time to time. Should I have a say in how they work? Absolutely not. But I'm part of the community. I can attend. Putting barriers, if tomorrow you come up and say, NIR SIG, you can only join NIR SIG if you are a member of an NIR. Then it kills the whole purpose of the SIG. It is for the community. So only those who are part of the NIR can go and attend that. In the past, we used to have show of hands for voting. That was the whole. We created more barriers. Most of the barriers came in because of the COVID. The first review happened during the COVID. The second review happened after the COVID, when we had the first meeting in person, just to remove some of the barriers we put during the COVID.
Yeah.
We realized that was a horrible idea, but it worked really well during the COVID.
Yes.
So we made changes along the line because we needed something. But putting more barriers, I don't think so is a good idea. We can have a discussion, we can have a conversation,
Sure.
but I don't think so. This is what's on the mailing list and what's been put on the slides here. It's not the good starting point.
Of course. Look, and thank you for your feedback and for your comments, Aftab. As I mentioned, this is it's a consultation. we want the community to be involved. We want people that have far more experience than us telling us where we can potentially improve it. And we want people to provide their feedback and their input as well, in helping to draft and potentially, and look at rewriting the SIG guidelines to make them more current, to make them more relevant, to get them to a point where everybody in the community can have their say and their input into how their SIGs are run. And that's where I'll go back to one of the earlier slides here. So one of the ideas and one of the examples that we had was breaking down the guidelines to consist of one document that covers all SIGs. So all the information that's relevant to every SIG that, that may exist, as well as a second document for each SIG for things that may be relevant to one, that may not be relevant to another. And one of the big things here is, in fact, the policy SIG. It's one of the most important functions of this community, because if we don't have a policy SIG or a working group or an open policy meeting, we can't formulate policy. We can't operate our RIR. So that's why we're looking to work with the community to come to a solution that everyone's happy with, or that most people are happy with, because not everyone will agree, but at least we have a majority consensus on a document that we can all agree with and we can all move forward with. Bertrand?
Yes, Bertrand Charrier. I'm the co-author of the proposal. To reply to Aftab's comment, we never spoke about not allowing anyone to attend a SIG. You don't have to be an NIR member to attend the NIR SIG. You can just open the door and step in. And the new idea after the feedback we had from last time was that it's up to the NIR SIG, for example, to decide how they run their own SIG. And this has to be provided in the SIG guideline initially. And it's the big document. And then each SIG can decide how they want to run their SIG. So if, for example, again, just an example, if the NIR SIG decided that the chair of the SIG, chair and co-chair, should be directly working for an NIR, sorry, it's up to them to decide among themselves how things will work. Well, it's just an idea, but really thank you for all your feedback. And I would like really to hear about what's positive in what we did so far.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jen from CNIC. About the NRC, if we see the chat of the current version of the guideline, we can see that the main responsibility of the SIG chair is to run the business relevant the NR business. So I think if yes, some people are elected as the NRC chair, not from NRS, isn't it fair for the NRS members?
Yeah, then can I support my coach? Also, I think we speak not only on the NRC but also speak at one of the 7 NR. I just we look about the chapter of NRC. The chapter of NRC is to share information relating to the operations, policy, process of National Internet Registry, with the aim promoting global cooperation both among NAS and APNIC as well. So at the special SIG, so on behalf of the one of the National Internet Registry, we would love to have the chair or co-chair from one of the NAS. It's better for us. We believe that if someone from the NAR take deep understanding what happened on the NAR, so they easy to can manage and moderate the sick better. However, we would love to have any community go to the NAR-sick. We would love to have people joining the NAR-sick to recommend us and also to know what happened in the NAR, because we think that we have the same story. We did not to go alone. We need to work together. So we hope that for the guideline for the chair at Corsair for NAR-sick, it's special. For another SIG, I'm not sure, but I think that another SIG, for example, routing security static and policy SIG as well, I believe that it's open for everyone because it's the same content and topic to affect everyone, every organization, not only for NAR, but also for the another ability members and ability community as well. So is this the suggestion, the presentation? I think it's good for the NAR-sick if we can have put something to spread through regarding to the guideline for the NAR-sick cell Corsair. And hopefully that we will to recommend detail how to can put that in the next the version in the next meeting. And I'm very happy that and also to agree with some idea from outside and another guy. We believe that the guideline did not to pretend to should open to many people, because I saw that as the first require we have that someone would like to apply for the election, so they can attend at least one ethnic conference. So I saw that require the new version require eight conference. It's hard to everyone. 8 conference, that means 4 years. So I saw that someone can know a lot of detail about the IPD community, and maybe they can busy with another job, so they could like to come back. So it's hard for them when we did not to have a opportunity to be a new co-chair and SIG chair. And hopefully that we can work to close together to be improve the guidelines better, to not it's not closed for someone, but it should be open to many people at our community. That's my idea. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's where, and look, with what Owen was saying regarding the requirement or the potential requirement for the NIR SIG chair or co-chair position to come from someone who is within an NIR, that text could very well sit under one of the second documents that sort of outlines how that particular SIG will operate, because that requirement quite clearly doesn't translate across to routing security or cooperation or policy. So if we were to implement a solution where we do have that one overarching document that covers all the SIGs, and then we have a sub-document which outlines how each SIG operates, we could very well, implement, things such as this.
Okay, I have another comment. Whether being a SIG chair or an NC member, both are volunteer positions and with no pay. So it seems this proposal to just make the simple things more complicated. It's my personal opinion. Yeah. And I know that in this proposal, you mentioned the equal opportunity. If the chair is elected, is for to win the election, I think it's it kind of equal. And I have visited the you mentioned in the proposal the links from other organizations, for example, RAP, LACNIC, and there's no limited in LACNIC and no limited in RAP. It's only have the limited from Aaron, but it's for the board. So this is just a SIG. SIG, it's a group. So do we need to, make the thing so complicated? Yeah.
Okay. So just because it's not being done at any other RIR or only at one other RIR doesn't necessarily mean we don't have to do it here. Policy has to start from somewhere. And in this case, the discussion simply happens to start here in the APNIC community. Simon Bay.
As Shubham said, in my personal capacity. So I really aligned with the objective of this policy, that the vision they want to correct the SIG guidelines. But I think few areas we missed. I just want to point out a few, like, for example, we are talking about equal opportunity to get more people to get chance to be part of the SIG community and in the SIG chair positions. If we go back to a couple of years back, like back in Kyoto meeting or in the Auckland meeting, a Wellington meeting, we missed some of the SIG candidates. They couldn't come because of visa issue. And sometimes it becomes very expensive to travel to some place as well. So it's not possible for everyone to be present in all the meetings physically. SIG chairs are privileged because they're supported by the fund, but the candidates are not. So earlier, there was a policy was like that the candidate must be present in the room, and the people present in the room, because they're interested in this policy, this SIG, and they're voting. But situation has changed actually. Now people can join online, participate in the meeting, and people are voting online now. Then I think one thing you should consider that removing that guideline that candidate must be present in the room shouldn't be there. If candidate join remotely, that should be okay as well. If community feels the person is really interested in this SIG and he has the capability to be part of it, so that could be incorporated. There's one suggestion to add. And regarding the proposal, I think the objective, one of the major objectives that from same organization, multiple people in different position, is that definitely that doesn't look good. We want to see diverse people from diverse country, diverse organization to be there. But after election, removing them by EC, one of them is doesn't seem very fair to the candidate who is already there. And you're also mentioning that who is long term, who is serving, he should be removed. So somebody is there, elected in a position, and somebody else from that organization may be elected in another election, and the senior will be removed. What's the fault of his actually? So we need to find a better way. Probably we need more discussion on that. I'm not proposing anything for that, but probably that requires more discussion, and definitely we should continue the discussion to improve the SIG process and improve the quality of the discussion, participation, if this part of the discussion of the SIG process. I think that'll be helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Look, we do want to provoke discussion. We do want people to become involved, and we do want people to give us their input. That's what this discussion is about. And without members of the community providing us with their feedback, we can't look at the current guidelines and potentially rework them in a way which the majority of the community agrees with. After.
So, Aftab Siddiqui, so there are some unspoken rules in this community, especially which applies to SIG, right? One of them is, when was the last time a non-NIR representative was elected to an NIR SIG?
I can't answer that for you.
Never. Number one. Number two, it's very common that everyone who sits on that stage has always understood the concept of conflict of interest. The first thing Bertrand did, he said, oh, because I'm one of the author, I'm going to step down. This is an understanding, it's unspoken rule. It's not written anywhere. But we understand this, that this is a bad idea to present something and be the chair of that as well. And say, oh, what do you think about the consensus? And then you measure the consensus. It's absolutely wrong idea. You'll be called out by the community. These are all the unwritten things we follow quite religiously. And so trying to put this into words, then all of a sudden we start following those words and statements, and it becomes tricky. So things which which you and all of us can deal on a trust base, let's deal with them on that level. I understand it's problem. Again, I do understand the concept. We live in a very different world, right? But then putting a requirement of a person's ability to do things without being an idiot, I have done more policies in this ecosystem than any of the current chair or co-chair. Am I eligible to run for the policy SIG chair or co-chair? Because my organization has nothing to do with numbers or technology. We don't even run our own network. Am I eligible or not? Tomohiro Fujisaki has done more, twice as more than me. Is he eligible to run? Yes, of course. They are all, I mean, including myself, but are the current chairs and co-chairs doing a good job? Absolutely, amazing job. They have not done policies, not everyone, some of them did policies. But are they doing a good job? Absolutely, they are. And we knew that, we elected them. Doesn't mean that we should put barriers that, oh, because your organization or your work is not directly related to the policy or NIR. I mean, when I was voting for the NIR, like, I'm an APNIC member. I have an RIR member. I have nothing to do with the NIR, but I can vote for the NIR chair and co-chair. It's quite absurd, but these are some unspoken rules we just follow, right? Because we know the people, we know they're going to do a good job. They are sincere to the community, and we abide by those rules. So that is one. And Bertrand was asking, what was the good thing about this whole process? You know, the brilliant thing about this whole process, this is the very first time the process is done by the community. Last two occasions, it was done by the Secretariat with some consultation, but not a lot. And at least we are starting from a good point. Secretariat, let me say that out loud, has absolutely no role in developing this guideline. Once we do that, they provide their comment saying this is the impact statement. And that is the relationship community should have with the Secretariat. Nothing more than that. And they did this time. They said, well, this is the impact analysis. So this is the perfect start of this discussion. And that's what I'm saying. We'd like to have more discussion on that, but on the community with the understanding that it should still be based on trust and some unspoken rules. Let's not try to make it difficult for people to enter into this ecosystem. Some of us don't have a lot of time left in this community. I mean, maybe have a long life, but then we have been this, I mean, I've been doing it for like 18 years. So, and I made a decision like a few years ago that I'm not going to do any policy. So somebody else has to do it. I don't run for any seat anymore. So these are the unspoken rules we all made. You don't see Gaurav coming in. You don't see Philip Smith coming in. You don't see Randy Bush coming in. We did our part long time ago. So if we try to put more barriers in, that might discourage people. So that's my only request. Let's have an open discussion, but with the understanding that we're not going to put barriers in. Just make it simple for other people to be part of this ecosystem. We have a very small community. If you want to make it bigger, let's be more open.
Of course. Thank you very much for your feedback, Aftab, for your further comments. And this is where we do need, again, to reiterate, we do need to get people on board. The SIG guidelines are written by us for us, and we need to ensure that, again, we're all happy with it. I think we have enough time for Akinori-san.
Right, maybe Akinori, please, and I'll try to keep the track of the time, and I should have some comments as a closing. Thank you.
Akinori Maimura of JP. In a particular point of the non-NIR person to be to sit in that chair position of the NIR, we have the two cases, I think. One of them is the Toshio Tachibana, who is not the employee of the JPNIC, but still very familiar with the NIR business because he is a member of the Japan Open Policy Forum steering team, which is the community body to take care of the policy process in Japan. So this is one of the examples. So maybe it would be fully left to those who vote to that election to think about the chair candidates are capable for the subject matter or not. Just for it. Thanks.
Thank you. And do you want to make a comment? And I'm going to try to.
Yes, of course. Okay, so first and foremost, I'd like to thank the community. Thank everyone for being here today. It does show that people in the community are interested in what we're trying to do. Some of the things that we've worked on may not be the best. Some may be good, some may be not so great. And again, this is where we need members of the community to tell us what we can do better and what the community can do better. So moving forward, hopefully we can get some really good discussion going. We'll start discussions on mailing lists, talking in person, emails back and forth. And see what we can potentially come up with for a presentation in Jakarta next year. But again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Christopher. And I want to say, just make a few comments before we adjourn this meeting. I think that this is a good start, having this consultation, having all the ideas to be exchanged. I want to say this in my personal capacity. I think that something that we mentioned that what's the essence of the SIG? We are here because we care. We're here because we are a part of the community. What we think is going to be better, we have the courage and we have the willingness to bring it up. I think that's the beauty about our community and about the SIG. All the different SIGs, currently there's 4. They are all very different. We talked about the policy SIG, how important it is. We're talking about the NIR SIG. We talk about some of the other SIG that we haven't been putting a lot of the weight on that, but they all have their meaning and they all have their values in there. I think that what we've been talking about is really what's the essence for the SIG? What are we trying to do? Are we adding more values or are we putting more barrier and the limitation? If we are doing all this out of the intention to bringing more value to the SIG, I think election is one thing. However, the chairs or co-chair, they do a good job, they're not doing a very good job. Everybody can understand, everybody can see that. So let's maybe bring the highlight into what are we trying to do, make the community better, utilize the SIG as a tool. I hope that we open up more discussion as we meet in the hallway. We can discuss more and there's more channels that we can talk about. With that, I think that the time is up and we are going to be adjourned the meeting. But let's continue the discussion anywhere, online, offline. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.